Okay, so today we are taking a look at Dolmenwood Adventure and Peril in the Fairy Tale Woods. Okay, so yeah, let's just go straight on in. Look at this white castle though, like I want to go there or something. Like it's one of those fairy tale castles like when you try to get to it, you'd never actually get there, do you know what I mean? Okay, so let's look. So here we have creating a character, how to create a novice adventurer ready to brave the befuddling Dolmenwood. Okay, so let's just go through all of these things. The first thing we have to do is to roll our ability scores, and it says roll 3d6 for each of these. So let's do that. So we have strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma. And it says a note on randomness. Many character statistics are determined by rolling dice. You are encouraged to savor the fun, unexpected character concepts that emerge from interpreting these random results. So yeah, we're just going to roll 3d6 for all of these and see what happens. Okay, so, oh no, my dice is like rolled really far away. It's lost in the woods of enchantment. Maybe I can reach it, hang on. I use my magical elf powers. I got it, okay. Anyway, back we go. Strength is 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's average. It's sort of out of 20, right? So, intelligence is 6 and 6, which is 12. Okay, that's not too bad. Wisdom, we have, okay, 6 and 6 again. So, dexterity. Okay, we did. Are these rolling? We did it again. We got 12 again. Constitution, 8. Okay, that's a little bit low on the health there. And charisma. Come on, charisma. Something that's not a 12. Oh, well, I suppose that's not a 12. That's pretty boring, to be honest. That's pretty boring. I tell you what we'll do. Seeing as we're here, I'll just roll another set of those and we'll see. Because that's pretty average. It's just sort of like boring. I would like something a bit more random where we got higher numbers and lower numbers. So let's do that, okay. Well, the extra numbers are pretty much the same. They're pretty average, so we'll just go with our original rolls here. Yeah, let's take a look at part 2. Choose a kindred. Okay, so the kindreds are on page 28, so let's go there. All right, so we have all of these happy friends here. So, because we're just doing it randomly, we'll just roll a d6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, and see what we end up with. So I'll do that. Okay, a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a grimalkin. All right, let's look. Okay, grimalkin. Mercurial feline fairies who shift between 3 different forms. Okay, they have a cunning humanoid form, which I guess is like this. Then they have a fat moggy form, which is a normal cat in all respects. And then they have a fey predator form. It says it's difficult to perceive clearly in the mortal world and is sort of like a gleaming pair of eyes. So it's a bit like the Cheshire Cat, right? The Cheshire Cat could sort of disappear into that sort of shape, can't it? So grimalkin names tend to be non-gendered. All right, so we can roll this, a first name and a surname, and see what we have. Okay, we have a 14 and a 2. 14 Penny Cotton Socks. Okay, Penny Cotton Socks. That sounds pretty good, to be honest. Penny Cotton Socks. And like it says, grimalkin names tend to be non-gendered because who cares about the gender? We're just happy being the happy little cat for the moment. Okay, so they can do things like shape-shifting and eating rodents and also being immortal at the same time. But we will have a look at Glamours. It says, grimalkins possess minor magical talents known as Glamours. Each grimalkin knows a single randomly determined glamour. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, yes, magic. Also, could I just say how cool this like artwork is? It just looks really cool and everything. So yeah, we'll get a glamour. Okay, glamours. The innate powers of those touched by fairy, which mortals regard as magic. Okay, we need a random one. Random Glamours for our Gremlkin to start with. Okay, 9. Okay, a 9. 9 is Flame Charm. Alright, what's that? The caster can conjure an extinguished flame. Conjuring flame, extinguishing flame, okay. The caster's fingertip is wreathed in colourful fire, which may be used to ignite things. But they can also snap their fingers and cause a non-magical flame to be extinguished. Okay, that's just an interesting little trick that can be done there. I think that's kind of funny. It's a slightly sneaky little thing as well that our cat could have. Okay, so let's roll a Gremlkin background and see what they came from before being an adventurer. Okay, it's a 1. Okay, an alchemist's aid. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay, they're an assistant to an alchemist. That works out with the flame charm as well, because you'd be having to light all different things to set the potions going, wouldn't you? So that's pretty cool. Let's see what a Gremlkin trinket they have. It's a 24. A hairball coughed up by a famous Gremlkin. Okay, that's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. I can imagine them being proud of it. Since there's quite a lot of these, let's roll one more and see if that speaks to us more. But it's fine, it's fine. 88, okay. A whistle that only dogs can't hear. Alright, I'll just go with the verbal. What was it? Okay, so they have this hairball from a famous Gremlkin. We don't know anything about that. Also, it could be one of those scenarios where they actually claim that it's from a famous, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is, does it? You know what it's like. Okay, so we have these supplemental table things. They are a bit hit and miss depending on what character concept we already have in mind, but we don't really have much of anything in mind quite now. So let's just roll some random things and see if it comes together, okay? Alright, so head, we'll start with head. We get an 8, which is pointy ear tufts. What does that mean? Does that mean that they have like the fluffy part coming out of their ear? I don't know what that means. I just got to interpret it that they got the fluffy. It's the fluffy part. Okay. We'll just do demeanor. 7. Reckless swashbuckler. A reckless swashbuckler would be somebody who's always sort of interposing themselves and saying, huzzah, out of my way. So that's fine. We can have that. What's a good desire for him then? It's a 6. Fame as a slayer of monsters. Oh my goodness. Well, that would make sense going with the reckless swashbuckler to want fame for being that kind of heroic entity, wouldn't it? We're going for a kind of a bit of a reckless kind of character now. All right, so what about their face? A 2. Constantly looks surprised. Let's just skip over that and go for dress. It's a 3. Festooned with rat bones. That's a bit weird. I'll try another one. A 2. Dandyish lace and silks. All right, instead of leaning into the more dandyish, it's kind of that. It is that swashbuckler vibe when you have those big cuffs that are puffy and fluffy. It's kind of that pirate sort of Three Musketeers-y clothing style, I think, is what it's going for. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you know that kind of sword master look, right? That kind of fencing sort of style. Yeah, I think that's fine. We can go with that. All right, let's have a look at beliefs then. We have an 11. Vegetables harm the health. Okay, I could well imagine that being a belief. All right, they're picky. They're not a fan of their vegetables. Okay. All right, what's their fur like? A 7. Iridescent. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's quite magical. I'll roll it again and see what we have. A 12. White and fluffy. Yeah, we'll just go white and fluffy because those kind of cuffs on those kind of fencing style are quite white and puffy. So to have that white and fluffy fur, I feel like that kind of goes with it. Okay, I'm not very good at drawing cats, by the way, but yeah, he's gonna be white and fluffy with his fluffy ears as well, all right? And then we have speech number 9, mirthful and mocking. Okay, that is quite perfect. That is quite perfect if he's in a sort of a fencing duel, right? Because that style of that reckless swashbuckler goes along with that mocking style of, doesn't it, of of pinning your opponent back against the wall because you are the superior fighter, but also superior in wit as well. So I think that sounds kind of good. That means he needs like an arched eyebrow of the kind of skilled swordsman that he would be. Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, hey, funnily enough, this picture here is actually quite similar to what I was trying to explain with that kind of style of the sword fencing and everything, isn't it? So yeah. All right, well, that's everything with the Grimalkin so far. So let's move on and see what our next... actually, we can actually see how old he is. Should we do that? Let's go ahead and roll his current age. It is a 9. So 9 times 10 is 90, right? So he's actually quite young. He's actually quite a young swashbuckly cat. All right, so now we need to choose a class, and this is where it gets interesting in the sense that we would normally choose a class that matched our highest rolled numbers. We'd normally take a look at our highest numbers and then match it to our class, but our numbers are all quite average. Like, we didn't really have any standout positions. So what we actually want to do is just pick the class based on what he is essentially. Yeah, instead of picking it mechanically, we are going to pick it thematically. And so basically, he's some kind of fencer. He's some kind of swashbuckling fencer, which would mean we would either go for a fighter or a bard, right? So yeah, I think the best bet would be the fighter. It says mercenaries, soldiers, and ruffians who turn their talents to the adventuring life. And that makes sense. He's a reckless swashbuckler, and they want to gain fame as a monster slayer as well. So it all kind of goes together, I think. So yeah, let's have a look. They can use any armor. They can use any weapons. They also have 1d8 hit points. So, because they are a first level character, whilst it does say 1d8 for their starting health, I'm going to be nice and just maximize the dice and say that they start with 8 health, okay? That's the nicest way to do it, because nobody wants to roll rubbish for their starting health, alright? So we've got some starting equipment here, like armor and weapons. We've kind of already decided what they sort of look like, so I'll roll this, and then we'll see. Okay, so we've got a 1. It says leather armor. I think that's fine, because we've kind of already decided what they sort of look like and what they're sort of wearing, and so we kind of want to make sure that what we have here matches the concept that we have. Okay, so we've got leather armor, and then we can roll twice to get 2 weapons, which is a 1 and a 3. So there's a crossbow and a longsword. All right, so we're obviously imagining them to have that fencing sword. The fencing blade doesn't really appear in the book, so it doesn't really matter. We'll just say that they have a sword like that, and it can be what it is. So never mind. All right, so the last thing is the combat talents. It says at levels 2, 6, 10, they should roll one of these. So he's not technically level 2 because we just started. But for the sake of fun, let's just roll one because we'd like to see what he is shaping up like. Okay, so it is a D8. Okay, let's roll it and see. It is a 1. Battle Rage. Alright, a fighter could choose to enter a berserk rage. Okay, that's interesting. I think I'll try another one to see what we get. Okay, we rolled a 1 as well. Alright, so that's fine. So it obviously wants us to have this. Okay, instead of the battle rage, let's thematically shift this to say that it isn't actually to do with rage, but it's when he shifts into his mocking ability. It reminds me, if you know Monkey Island and the insult sword fighting, where they are sword fighting but also saying insults at the same time, that is how I feel that the battle rage would come across. It's actually going to be that. So yes, I think I'm happy with him for now. I suppose I ought to give him some legs. He's not got any legs yet. You'd have to have those sort of high-on boots, you know, when you're a swashbuckly kind of cat. You've got those sort of high boots, haven't you? And we'll give him the sword at his side as well for fighting with. And it's got one of those, what is it called? The hand guard? It will have like a fancy hand guard on it. as well. Okay, yeah, well, that will do for now. We'll leave him at that for now. That's just the beginning. That's just the opening concept of our character. It's Penny Cotton Socks. He used to be an alchemist's aide. He could use his flame charm to set things, but he's gone off. He wants to be a famous monster slayer, and he's very mirthful and mocking as he does so. Bit of a reckless swashbuckler as he goes around. And you know what's interesting about this actually is that I just randomly rolled all of that for Dolmenwood, but I actually have another video series that I'm doing, which is pirates. I'm doing a pirate series, which is completely separate from this. And funnily enough, we've randomly generated basically a swashbuckly kind of pirate cat. So I am now very, very tempted to have this cat have Penny Cotton Socks come over into our pirate stuff that I've been working on as well. That was completely unexpected. But if you want to, you could go check out my other pirate videos as well, because I think Penny might have to join the crew now after all of that. So yeah, that's very cool. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a random Dolmenwood character of your own. And yeah, that's basically it. And I guess I'll see you next time with whatever happens on Penny's adventures. Okay, there we go. Okay.